So members, this was a very small test for us to recap on the data types that we can work with in Excel and the formatting that we looked at. Basically, formatting, we emphasized the number formatting. That's what we went through, and we have at least 3 classes or 4 classes on this particular topic. And this was like a recap, a small test, a reminder on what we have covered if you still remembered what we talked about. Okay. And our pass mark is always 80. Someone was complaining that why can't we reduce the pass mark? Again, we can, but anyway, because these things we discuss them here together, I hope that when a test comes out, I want to motivate you to make sure you can really work hard to get 80 out of 100. But average, like I can see your performance, we are all doing very well. If you have 60 and above, you know that you're doing very fine. Questions or tests are always tests. You can fail these things even when you know how to do stuff. Am I lying? These things you can fail a test, but when you can practically work out stuff, you get the idea. Because sometimes English, sometimes understanding questions, those things clicking, and you can fail any exam, you can fail any test, you can fail any interview, even if you're the best. You get the idea. Depends on the circumstance. Okay. So, but our performance is really encouraging, and we can really push forward. However much you score, this will not deter you from continuing with us and training. You get the idea. But it would be wise if you can really up your game and make sure you can score to our pass mark that we set. Yes. Okay, so the first question was looking at this particular picture here. As someone was saying that they didn't see the picture, I'm not really very sure which gadget you used to attempt these questions, but the picture, the screenshot that I took for as an attachment before I did ask the question should be really available. In case you didn't see the pictures, we are very sorry for that. That is dependent on the machine you used to attempt. Did you use a computer? Did you use a phone? Did you use, I don't know what you used, a tablet or something, which really didn't show you these pictures, but they must be showing, even if you use the phone. Okay. So this is the picture we talked about in our class, and we discussed the number formatting and the we discussed the accounting format and also the currency format, and we did distinguish between these two formats. What distinguishes between these two formats? Anyone who remembers? We said with the accounting format, you have only a customization you can do is applying the currency symbol of your choice. And the way how the currency symbol is aligned is that it gives in a little bit of space and it aligns to the left, and your numbers will align to the right. But with the currency format, your symbol will be detached close to the numbers. You get the idea? So when you look at this particular format here, all our dollar symbols are close to each other. So meaning the format is the same. You get the idea? The format is the same. Only that in here for Nairobi values, we haven't applied the negative numbers to show in red color, but we still have the currency format. I think this one, might have challenged some of us, but we still have the same format. Although in the second format, we didn't choose that option of how to show the negative numbers, but we still used the currency format. Maybe I can open the workbook so that we can review from the inside. If I still have this file, let me hope I have the file that I used to test on these things. Formats, let me check if this is the file we used and look at these things practically for the first question so that we can recap on these formats. What is the difference between the currency format and the accounting format? And these formats are very important for finance people, people who deal with monetary values in Excel, these two types of formats are really important on your side. So let me check special format. Why did we talk about the currency? Where did we talk about the currency? Yes, it's right here. So we discussed the currency format, and this is how it shows when it's a currency format, and this is how it shows if it's an accounting format. So for our screenshot, it is very clear that the format was the same. So there is no difference. Both of the values for Kampala and Nairobi have the same number format. I don't know whether this was too challenging. Mukamugenga, you can let us know why was this challenging on your side to get the correct answer here. What challenge do you hear?
The challenge, donc I don't focus on the number format. The challenge was that when the negative value have shown in a different color, so I have confusion. That the language saying that saying that the number format are different, but it's the same.
Because
It's
the
very
question
clear.
was, is there any difference in formatting applied to the numbers? Aha. So what are we interested in testing there? We are interested in testing as to whether you can distinguish between accounting and currency.
Yeah.
You get the idea?
Godfrey. Yeah. So when you are in the currency format and you're picking the different how do I call it? Right. Just go to format and we see practically when you select
okay. So if I selected this column here,
yes,
and I came over to the accounting,
yes,
you see what we have here. There is no option of us dictating how negative values will show.
Go to currency.
And when I come to currency, you can see we have this option of
very
declaring.
Good.
Yes.
Now, my question is, when you're picking these options, there are 4 options there. The first, the second is in red, and then the fourth is in red. When you're picking these options, what are you doing? Are you applying a format, or what are you doing?
You are still applying the same format, which is currency, because the main category of the format is here. All these are attributes to the format. These are like, some things that are extra to that particular format. Because when you come to the date format, you have a number of other formats that you have here. So if I asked you what format is this particular date, which shows like this, and which format is this particular date, they are all formatted as dates, but they show with a different kind of type of how they are showing, but they are still in the same date format. They are still in the same bracket, although some formats have a number of other additions to make the difference, or to beautify your formats a little bit more, or to distinguish a little bit more. That's why we have a number of options here in the sample. Not all of them have so many other attributes on them. For numbers, you have a number of things you can customize. For currency, you can customize. For accounting, you can only customize the decimals and the symbol. You get the idea? We are still in the same format. If you're still looking at, trying to tell us that these were 2 different formats. Are we there? Do we all agree that this is correct, or we are still hesitant?
No, sir, we are not.
Godfrey, may I have now understood, because I failed it. I failed it, but now I've understood it.
You have understood that we are still in the same format.
Yes.
All right. So let's go to the question number 2, which was very easy. I think this one everyone got it, but there are still people who failed this question. If I came over to the questions here and I check, there are still people who failed this one here. Which of the following values do not fall under any Excel data type. Do you still understand all the Excel data types? Because when you're working with your tabular data or you're trying to punch in records in your worksheets, you are supposed to specify which type of data sits in a given column. Are we together? You can say here I need dates, here I need text, here I need here I need percentages, here I need this. So do we all still understand the number, the data types that we can work with in Excel? That is very important. So if I look at these values here that we are given, is there anything that doesn't fall under any of our data types? Of course, if you
actually it is that D.
It is that D, because you can see that the D is a formula. So a formula
is a function.
Yes, is a formula with so is it a formula or function? So it's both.
It is a function.
Is it a function or a formula? Looking at what we discussed yesterday.
A function.
It's a function.
It's a but it's a formula that has a function on it.
Yes.
That's how I like to call it. It's a formula with a function because it's trying to look at numbers in A1 and A2, and it's trying to sum up these things. But when you look at the hash name question mark, this is a value that falls under our error data type. So this is the easiest test. This is the easiest test. Some people gave this as the value that doesn't fall under any data type, but you can clearly see that this is a kind of a sentence, a word or something. And we did say,
data type.
And yes, so it falls under the text data type. And this one is clearly number 1989. It is clearly a number. So if you gave yourself a D, I think the system did show you the correct answer. So for this one, we don't have any debate. So the other one is saying true or false. Is changing the alignment of a text value in Excel a type of format? Is changing the alignment a type of format in Excel? Do we all agree that true was the correct answer, or false? We can examine as to whether it is true. So we can go to Excel and examine if someone just changed the alignment under this particular group of tools, which is called alignment, where we change how text should show in our cell address. We can either do text wrapping, we can do mergers, we can change the direction or orientation, we can center, left align, right align, justify, and these other options here. So if you're doing all these type of changes to your number or to your value, are you doing a format? Are you trying to format things up? Is that true or it isn't? Of course, it is very true. We talked, if you understand exactly what a format is, if you understand what formatting means, that should be the guiding principle. Do you understand what a format means?
Yes.
A format is changing the visual representation of anything, of values or raw data or reports, whatever you might be formatting, to anything that Excel doesn't. Because even if you have this as a bold value, when you double check in the formula bar, there is no bolding. It's just our eyes are seeing it as a bold because we have applied a bold. We have formatted our column headers with a bold text, but inside the formula bar, it's never bold. And you know that Excel doesn't work with the formats. Excel works, or Excel functions work with the values that are underlined in the formula bar. Are we together? So if you understand formatting, whatever changes you make to the appearance of your values, to the appearance of your cell address, be it changing the background, be it changing the fill color, be it changing the font, be it bolding, be it italicizing, be it underlining, adding borders. All that work you're doing is formatting. So we didn't actually go in details to look at these alignments. I believe we shall meet them as we move forward. We concentrated on these number formats here because they are really important. You get the idea? But all these tabs from here, from the font group of tools, alignment, numbers, all these tabs here are in fact part of the formatting exercise that you might want to do. If you want to change the appearance, if you want to change anything, all these tabs can help. You can either go for the font. Why is it categorized as a font? Because it works on formatting the fonts. It works on formatting the fonts. How do you want your fonts to look like? You get the idea? Then this one is working on how you want your text or your numbers to align in the cell addresses. Do you want it to change direction? Do you want it to, I don't know what you may want. All that is formatting. Then we focused ourselves on the number formats here because they really play a very important role when it comes to data analysis. You get the idea? Or even when it comes to putting that final touches on your reports, these things play an important role. But all these things are equally important. Navigate, try to change these things. They are quite very easy. We don't need a special class for these things here. All right. So let's move forward and review our first question here, which our only lady got right. Look at this picture. Keenly, this is just a screenshot I took. In how many methods can this window open while you are in the initial Excel interface? We can test these things. So I just gave you here random numbers. I don't know whether Mkamgenga, you got this one. Can you really show us the 6 methods, or it was just like, you said, let me pick a 6 and it ended up to be correct? Can you really show us the 6 methods of you ending up opening the format cells dialog box? Is that something you can do?
Yes.
All right. So that's perfect. So we have 6 methods. How do we come to the 6 methods? One of them, of course, is coming over to the, anyway, we can start with even the font style here. So we have 3 dialog launchers here. We can launch it from these dialog launchers here. We get our format cells dialog box. You can see all these options here give us capability to launch the format cells dialog box. We can also launch it from the general tab here, from the drop down. When you come to the more number formats, this one will also open the format cells dialog box. We can even highlight and right mouse click, and we end up here, format cells dialog box. Are we there? We can also come to the format cells here. We click in the drop down and we find ourselves opening the format cells dialog box. So there are a number of methods we can use to end up into the format cells dialog box. But of course, that's why we said when you are the initial interface, when we go to the pivot tables, when we go to pivot tables, we can also have another method of accessing this dialog box. For those who attended our pivot table classes, you still remember. Okay, so those are like additional methods, but the question was very specific. When you are still on your home screen, how do you open the format cells dialog box? So 6 is the correct number. Okay, which one of these Excel functions? Let me check. Someone is dropping a comment, I think. If you dropped a comment, I'm unable to open it on my phone. I'm just logging in one more time. Please, can you unmute and speak? The person who dropped a comment, unmute and speak. Oh, it wasn't a comment. Let me just confirm. If it wasn't a comment, then we can move forward. I believe it wasn't, but in case, okay, so let's answer this question here. Which one of these functions will not deliver a logical data type? Do we still understand what a data type is? So our only lady tried this one and it failed. Do we still remember what a logical value is?
Yes.
So whenever you see a true or a false, that is a logical value, because that true and a false is only delivered when you do a logical test, when you run a logical question. For those who attended our logical functions masterclass, we did go through all these things, but we shall still meet them in this particular course. And I believe this time you will be recapping on what we covered, because most of you did attend our logical functions classes. So we can actually go to Excel and double check. And is a function that we use to test two or more questions. If they all turn out to be true, then you get a true. If one of them doesn't, then you get a false. So and, of course, is one of the logical functions. Or is one of the logical functions. Switch is one of the logical functions. You can go to the functions library and double check here. Come to the formulas tab and go to the logical functions here. Scroll through. If you find somewhere a function called switch, then you know that this one also delivers a logical value. Okay. Now the count, when we go to the functions library, where does the count fall? Is it under financial functions? We can double check. Where does count fall? I think it falls under the math and trigonometry functions. Let me check if I can see a count here. We have the count here. I move very slowly to see if I have the count function here. Maybe if it's not in here, we can go to more functions. How about statistical? Yes, we can look through. Yes, it falls under the statistical group of functions. So that was the correct answer, because count is right here. It doesn't deliver a logical value. It delivers a count of numbers of cells in a range that contains numbers in them. That's what it does. You use it to look at a range and it will tell you which cells have numbers in them. That's the count. If you want to count text, then you use the count A. You get the idea? So our only lady, you did fail this one straight away. Number 6, when a very big number is input in any cell, by default, Excel will show it as we talked as is, because of the default general format. Is that true?
No.
As is because of its number format. Are you
No.
sure? As a scientific format.
Yes.
Some numbers will be hidden because it is too big to show in a small column width. Okay, so let us see. If we punch in here a very big number, who can give me the very big number that we can use? So I think a cell can contain around 15 digits. If it's a number, we can try that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that is 15. You can see this is a very big number. So immediately you release your mouse or you hit enter, you get this back. This is called a scientific notation or a scientific format. Okay, so let us enlarge this number and see. You see, even if we enlarge this particular column, the number will not change, because it's not all about the width of the column, it's about how long the number is. You get the idea? It's not about the width of the column, because it would have shown us maybe the pound symbols, but this is about the length of the number itself. So it's a huge number. So once it can't be really read, then it changes into this particular format that people like you like to use. I don't know whether we have people who read numbers in this format. It is dependent on what you actually do with Excel. You get the idea? So I think that was straightforward. It will show us a scientific format if it's a big number. Even if it was a small number, yes, even if it was a small number, it does the same. And I gave you notes about that. Even if it was a too small number, and you know the two small numbers, they will still show in the same format. Okay. Moving forward, how many decimal places can a number format accommodate? This was very simple. Every time you are attempting an Excel, let me just give you a hint. Every time you are attempting an Excel exercise, please make sure that your Excel is open. You open Excel and try these things before you answer. I'm just giving you a hint to make sure that every other test that comes along the way, you get 100%. So open your Excel and start answering, because everything we ask is within Excel. You get the idea? So for this one, it was very simple. You go to Excel and create the decimal numbers. You get the idea? You can say 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, until you see those numbers. Or you could actually come here to the number format. If you wanted to test that, you can either select any number and come over to the number format, and you check these decimal places here. You can increase the decimal places here. You can increase to infinity. You can see the number where it ends here. So you double check it from here. You can see that this one is ending at 30. If it was still moving forward, it would give us more room to add more decimal places. So we can test, we can reduce from here, or we can increase from here. So these 30 decimal places, they will make the number look very, very small, very, very small. So that's why we don't advise you to use more than 5 decimal places, unless it is necessary. So 2 is very good. 3, depending on what you're working with, if it's percentages, you may need 2 decimal places. If it's currency, I see people using 2 decimal places. I don't know whether it's the default that they like to use 2 decimal places. But of course, the number that the formula we use is not only the 2 decimal places that are visible to you. This is just a format. The Excel formula will still use the entire number in its entirety. Get the idea? So I think that was straightforward. If you failed this, someone said infinite. So what?
I want to ask a question.
Yes. Unmute again, because I had muted you. I had feedback. Unmute again.
If we go back to the Excel sheet, and then you select the format, we have done practice using currency. But if you use the number format,
does it go beyond?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Let me just change this to a number. And we have our decimals. You see? This one gives us 30, and we are in the number format.
But if you format there in the box and you write 50, it will still give you.
I write 50.
Yes.
50,000.
No, just go back to the format. Number format.
Yes.
Where there is 0.
I just punch 50 here.
Yes.
Oh, so this is what you mean, that you can extend. When I do that, it says your entry cannot be used. An integer or decimal number may be required.
But when I was practicing,
Mm.
I tried using 2, 30, 33, and I did 35, and I saw it is still increasing. So that's why I chose infinity.
But anyway, so I don't know what members suggest. So do we give it to you, infinity? Because we can see by default, we are limited to 30. And when I try to grow this number to 50, I get this error here. I don't know, maybe, is it a version system? Is it a version, do you have a different version of Excel? Which version are you running?
21.
2021. And this is also Office 360. They are the same one. We can find out more on that, but for the guys who gave themselves infinite, we may not give this one to you. I'm not fully convinced that I can give it to you, but we can try. Let other members try and give us.
I'm also using 20.
Hello, Mr. Godfrey. Hello.
Yes.
I think it is not right, because even if you put there 50 and that error comes, if you click OK, it will not give you that answer. It won't give you the answer.
Maybe it was meaning that this one is flexible to add as many as you can, but when it comes to accepting the real result, it will not work. When it comes to saying okay, it won't work until you cancel and give the appropriate decimal numbers. But we can try things. There are so many things in Excel that can really happen. All right. Can we move forward? So we are not giving it to you. Please. This was our only lady complaining. Oh, this was another person.
This is Magdalene Ochola.
Hey, Ochola. So you gave also the same answer.
Yes.
All right. How about this question? Only 2 of the following are not part of the formatting group of commands. On the ribbon tab, pick only the correct combination. Who failed this one, really? Who failed this one?
We confused us. Pick the correct combination. That's where I got it wrong.
The combination is the challenge.
They are all correct.
They are all correct.
No, A is not correct.
They are all correct.
Let's go there and double check.
The question was confusing. We choose the correct combination.
Yes, everyone choose the correct.
The correct combination of groups of commands that are not part of the formatting family.
That is how English is complicated now.
Then if that is the case, then A and B are conflicting, because that clipboard, is it part of formatting?
Is clipboard part of formatting according to you? Is clipboard part of formatting?
And when you go to clipboard,
no. How do you know that it's not part? If I launch the dialog, if I click on the dialog launcher, do I get the format cells dialog box?
No.
That means it's not part of the formatting, because all types of formatting in Excel that we do it inside the format cells dialog box.
Then there we have 2 answers.
We have 2 answers. Are you sure? So editing and clipboard.
Then when I
go to clipboard, it's not part, and editing is also not part, because it doesn't even have a dialog launcher that takes me to the formatting, to the format cells dialog box. But when you look at the font, alignment, number, these ones are the tabs that will give you capability to format the way how you want your cells to look like, or the numbers themselves. So I think the editing and clipboard was the correct answer, and alignment and number are already part of what we are discussing. Alignment and number are part of the format cells dialog boxes. You get the idea?
How about clipboard and number? Because now clipboard is not and number is. So how do you award marks there?
Now I'm saying pick pick only the correct combination. What does that one mean? When I say pick
So
only
the correct
the correct
combination is
combination
editing, editing and
clipboard.
clipboard, but also the last one is not the right combination. It is a half right.
Half right, but that, do you give it to yourself if you said clipboard? Because the combination I'm meaning here is pick the correct combination of dialogue, or sorry, of commands that are not part of formatting. Because if I mix clipboard and number, because number is part of formatting, that means this is an incorrect combination. I have to look for something that is outside of the formatting. You get
because of number.
Huh?
That is out.
I
For the
feel
number,
it is
because of D
number.
is out. D is out because of clipboard. Clipboard, yeah. D is out because of number.
yes.
Because clipboard is correct, but number is not. So my
Yes.
my question here was pick only the correct combination of the tabs that are not belong to the format cells dialog box. Are we there?
We are there. I have a question. When we go under clipboard in Excel, there is that that thing under clipboard there called don't click on the drop down thing, but there is start, copy, and format painter. That format painter, how do we categorize it? Because it also formats things.
Does format that, can you use a format painter to apply any format that is not existing?
No.
No.
That means it is out.
All right.
Because we are interested in something that implements a format, not something that replicates a format. Are we there?
Sure.
All right. So we agree that this was incorrect. If you say the clipboard and number and you thought it is correct, no, it isn't. Okay. How about question 9? Our only lady also failed this question 9. What was confusing here? Only one of the following formats will show negative numbers in parentheses. Wasn't this one straightforward? Our only lady, wasn't this one straightforward?
No.
Are you
because
sure?
We have run that when we are formatting, it's in accounting, that show negative number into parentheses. Yeah.
Which one does show, which format helps you show the numbers in brackets? Because when I go to
accounting,
when I go to accounting, I can't see the option to tell Excel that show me negative numbers in parentheses. I can't see that option.
But we have learned in class that in accounting,
I only get this when I do a custom format that is completely customized. Who has the? I can hear something in the background, but I don't know whether it's a phone. Is it a phone? I believe it is. So the correct answer for this particular question here is which format? A custom format. We do this when we are dealing with when accountants want to distinguish these negative numbers, not only with the red or minus symbol, they can also put them in brackets, but you can't do that using these predefined formats here. You can do that by coming over to custom and you create your own. Of course, we didn't touch custom. I would have shown you. I think that's why maybe most of us failed. I said that for this one, custom formatting, we shall come back and have a session on custom formatting, how to implement custom formatting. Yes. Can we move forward? Muvia, you had a question?
So currency.
No.
Minor.
I'm asking about currency. Currency, is it because of the bracket? That's why it's not under negative.
The bracket. Where is the bracket option here? I can't see the options that the currency format gives us to show the
Sorry,
bracket.
I mean the negative. See, we are talking about the negative.
Yes, the negative, you can decide to show them just in the normal font, or you can show them in red text. Depends on what you want. But you can't put in brackets.
Oh, I got it.
So the parenthesis is just brackets. If the English was confusing here, parenthesis is just brackets. It's a language they like to use here in Excel, but open parenthesis, open brackets, it's the same. How about this question here? Number 10 was the easiest, I think. Number 10, no one should be failing this question. This is what we started with. No one should be failing this question. How many official Excel data types are used in Excel? There are only, we talked about them, errors, logical, numbers, text. Those are the main big, data types that we can work with. Is there any that we think we left out? Is there anyone who has a suggestion or an addition? Most of other things you'll be working with will fall under those 4 main categories. Okay, so the answer was a 4. Everyone got this one. I think to a smaller percentage, of course, people did fail this one as well, but not all of us. What will precede the number if you format, this was if you format, not your format. If you format a number using a currency option, what precedes the number? Is this one really challenging? For the people who didn't get the correct answers here, was this one challenging? Do we need even to demo this? Minor, do we need to demo this?
I think it's self-explanatory.
It's self-explanatory. So it's always the currency symbol of your choice, of your local currency that you use. So that precedes your numbers if you apply the currency format. That's what we wanted you to recall. Okay, in the format cells dialog box, what are the formatting options called? This is also another one that challenged most of us. What are those formats? Are they categories, groups, styles, or templates when you're working with the inside the number formats? The dialog box we talked about, the format cells dialog box. So are those numbers we talked about, the number, the currency, are they called styles? Are they called templates? Are they called groups? What do we call them? That particular word is somewhere there. If you actually double checked, this is called a category. So the main category for the format is either number, currency, accounting, date, time, and so on and so forth. So it's called a category. It's up here. And these ones on top, these ones at the tabs, the different tabs. So each tab has a number of categories in there. Like for this one, it has the font, it has the font style, it has the size, has the color, underlining. All those are subcategories under the font group of tools. But for the number, these ones are called categories. So let me hope that was very clear. Everything is still rotating around formatting. Is there anyone trying to challenge this? We can go to your file and double check if your version is different. We can move there and check, okay? 13, when a date displays a number, displays as a number instead of as a date, 2 of the following formats is applied. Choose the best combination. Woo, this was, I think, challenging, depending on, this was challenging because what I wanted isn't what I actually got. I wanted you to pick only 2 options, but I think the configuration of the question didn't allow me do that. But I'll try in the other questions. I'll try to activate that option to make sure you can, in most instances, give 2 options. So what I wanted here for you to pick is 2 combinations from A, B, C, D. So you pick either A and B, or C and D, or is D and A. So that's what I actually meant. But of course, you couldn't, because the general format was like you have to pick one. I'll try to see. So I give it to you if you picked one of the correct combinations. But again, we still have people who picked the wrong combination. Okay, who picked even one option, but which was wrong. You get the idea? So what is the combination here? Can we just give the second one manually? Mukamugenga, can you give us the second option you would have given if I had allowed you to choose two from this question? When a date displays as a number instead of a date, two of the following formats are applied or is applied. Okay, choose the best combination. So we have the general format, we have the number format, we have the short date format, we have the custom date. So which other do you have given as a correct one?
Godfrey,
Yes,
I would have given combination B and C.
B and C. That is perfect. B and C is the right one. B and C. Because if you are in the general format, that date value always shows as a number. Even when you change, actually, when you want to double check if a date is an actual date, if you want to confirm if a date is an actual date, you just convert it to a number and it will show you those numbers we talked about. Those numbers are the number of days that have elapsed since 1900. So those numbers do not come from anywhere else. They are informed by that criteria that Excel uses, or the calendar format starts counting from 1900, the 1st of January 1900. So if you do general, if you do number, you'd have gotten this one. But again, we shall give it to ourselves. For whoever chose B or C, you got it. But next time, I will try to configure these questions to behave differently. All right, question 14. Isn't this one very straightforward? Or we can actually think otherwise. This small screenshot here, there's a line below this cell. How has this line been applied?
Godfrey, it is not straightforward.
Is it all borders? Is it a bottom border? Is it a thick border?
It is not straightforward. That's
It is not. It's not straightforward.
This is Rogers.
Even underline.
Because even
underline can also do.
Exactly.
Even underline can also do.
Underline can do.
Godfrey.
But underline can't do on say a sale. That's what the trick.
Hello.
Let me just type it here so that we can try these things. So the word was there is a line below this.
If we look at the screenshot very well, we look at the border, the bolding of the border was at the bottom. So I would really think the bottom border, thick border would work.
So when you underline, what happens? Because we need to understand those types of formats. If you underline, what happens? If you do, what other option was it? If you do all borders, what happens? If you do a thick border, what happens? We can try all those things. So
if
from
the right below that, but not in the cell. It's up in the cell. It's not directly cell.
Yes. Please speak, Charles.
Mr. Birungi. Mr. Birungi.
I can hear you.
For me, I think that the writing is sitting in a cell, in one cell. Now, I've tried to do that bottom border. When you do a bottom border, it will only underline that cell where the word is sitting on. But when you do underlining, it will underline the entire.
We lost Charles, I think.
No, that is underlining.
We lost Charles.
Yes. I'm there.
Let me just zoom in so that members can see the difference between these pictures. I need you to be observant. So that is is everybody able to see? Make sure you can see both the grid lines and also the underline we have applied. So do you think that there's a difference between this underline here and this underline here?
Yes, there's a difference.
Yes, so we rule out the underline. It's not an underline that we are seeing in the picture.
It's not at all.
It's not at all.
It is actually the grid that is underlined in the other assignment.
Right, you got it right. So we are using the grid itself. So the format is not a line that we are introducing like by drawing it. We are not introducing a line as a shape. We are not introducing a line as an underline. Our interest is to apply a border, but we need to use the grid line itself. So the format that you see, the thick line, is applied on the grid line. I don't know whether you can observe where this line is sitting vis-a-vis if you are saying the underline is the correct option. What else? Someone was saying which one did you think that is the correct answer? Because for me, I said bottom border, and you're trying to dispute this answer here. So which else do we say is the correct one? We try it here so that we can see the difference.
Oh, so I can see that. I think the bottom line. Do you select only one cell, or you select the overlap cells?
So you have to observe what is happening on the picture. Don't concentrate on what is happening in Excel right now. Concentrate on what is showing on the picture. The picture is the one that has the question. So we are asking you, what was used to achieve this format that you're seeing in the picture? Because we can do that, we can apply different methods, but all of them may not show the way how this picture is showing. So concentrate on what the picture is showing. Are we there? So let me remove the underline and we do. Let me remove the underline and we do the same picture here. We try the all borders and see what we get. So if I want to highlight these cells and do all borders, of course, this one will not work. We may end up getting borders showing like that. Are we there? So the correct answer is the bottom border, because if I do this and apply the bottom border choice from the drop downs here, let us choose the bottom border and see what happens. Does that line really sit in the grid line? It covers the grid line itself, or does that line show on the text itself like the underline did? Let's do that and see. You see what happened? This kind of underlining sits exactly on the grid line. You get the idea? Which other option you thought was correct? The thick border. We can apply the thick border and see what happens. So I highlight and apply the thick border. Thick border is, let me see. So which one can we use? If we do top and thick bottom border, of course, it gives us a different one. If we do top and bottom border, let us do thick border. You see, this one works similarly the way how the first option did. So the two answers here are correct. Either thick border or bottom border. Okay, so can we move forward? Question 15. Are we comfortable with the formatting, with the line, the underlining, the thick border, the bottom border? Are we good? All right. Question
Yes,
15.
yeah, okay.
When dealing with how text or fonts appears in a spreadsheet, we are talking about which type of format?
So, Godfrey. Hello. I have a question
Yes?
in the previous. I have a question in the previous. Since you are saying the answer is any of the two, should we award ourselves in case we are not, we are? Should we award ourselves more marks or what?
But I can check I can check the answer you gave here. I can check it. I can check it because you must have given one of those. You must have made one of the choices. So if your choice was in one of those, add the 5. Because we have seen it practically. Add the 5. Can we move forward? Can we move forward to question 15? What are we dealing with here when we do text or font, when we change the appearance? Are we doing auto-filling? Are we doing general formatting? Are we changing the content? Are we changing the structure? Do we understand the difference between these two? Minor? Did you get this one correct? So we have the structure that we talked about, the grid itself, the cells, the columns, and we also have the contents that sit in there. So we can apply format on any of those. We can apply a format on the structure, or we can apply a format on the contents that we feed into the structure. You get the idea? So those are the two things we wanted you to distinguish. We might have not discussed these things, but we may not discuss everything in class. And sometimes they may come up as, as tests, as questions. You need also to find out on some of these things. So content and structure, or structure formatting and content formatting, you need to distinguish between those two types of formats. We can format the grids themselves or the cells, or we can actually format the content itself. Are we there? So if you gave yourself a content, of course, that's what I had given as the correct answer, and which it is. So this one was like an interchanging question. When we are talking about formatting of columns, rows, so we are referring to what this is the same, similar to what we have covered here, similar to what we are testing here. One is formatting the contents, and one was formatting the structure. So when you're dealing with columns and rows, you're doing structural formatting. When you're doing text bolding, text alignment, text this or number this, format currency, blah blah, you're doing content formatting. Are we there? This question here, why did our only lady fail this question? I wanted to ask her in particular. Is it English? Because I think you are coming from French. Our only lady, is it English that failed you this? In the screenshot below here, which rectangle is around the part of the user must click on to combine the cells highlighted so that they may act as one cell for the title? So Kamugenga, our only lady, what confused you here, if you are still on the call?
I think it's colors.
We have to go to the nursery one, the colors.
The colors. So I say, so we have the red one. Let me see, red square. We have, so the red square is this one. So it's
this one
is
for the light blue.
Then we also have alignment here. We have wrap text in yellow. We have the general in light blue, and we also have thick blue here, or darker blue, or whatever you may call it. So the correct answer was the margin center, which was supposed to be the dark blue square.
Which is dark blue?
Dark blue. Is that a is that a dark blue color?
That's what I choose. I see that margin center. That was dark blue. It's not light.
It's not light. You gave it light blue square, which was actually selecting the general format. The light blue here is selecting the general format, and the darker blue is selecting the merge and center, which was the correct.
In my mind, the merge and center was that for highlighting.
Yeah, the color issue. I now understand the color issue.
Because that is I see it's not dark blue. It's have said that's the light blue. Yeah, the blue one. Because I write it even in a Google and then I search the color comes, it's the dark blue, it comes like this one. The light blue, it comes like in this one. When you tap even on the phone. Right? Yeah, light blue. Because they have to with this color.
How about the rest of the members? That do we all distinguish between these colors? Which one is dark blue or navy blue? Because these colors, I'm also not good at colors, but there's navy blue, dark blue, light blue, whatever. People who understand colors, can you distinguish them?
Mr. Virungi.
Yes.
The other one, at times we call it sky blue, the other which has a general. It can be called sky blue or light blue. So this one here for merge and center is dark blue.
All navy blue.
Yes, navy blue.
It's not navy blue.
Navy blue.
It's not navy blue. It's blue.
It's dark blue.
It's just blue.
No, it's just blue. This one is royal blue, actually.
Yeah, you see now, people, the technical people in colors, you are now helping us. Technical in understanding colors. But of course, from the question, it is very straightforward that we meant the merge and center. Even if you are not good at colors, you could tell and go with some. Anyway, maybe colors could disturb someone, but I'm not really sure.
Disturbed me. I was choosing merge and center, but I choose right blue square. Because I like the name, then it comes in that way. It looks like this.
All right, I think we don't give that one to you this time. You got it wrong. And is there anything that can happen? Yes, this one failed a lot of people. I don't know whether people who said there's something that can happen. What was in your mind? Can someone explain? If you actually gave this answer A, can you explain what was on your mind? When I say, is there anything that can happen in the future if you enter numbers with comma separators manually yourself? Is there anything that can happen in the future?
Yes, what if you forget? Assume you have billions and you forget to keep that one comma.
No, for us here, we are not about forgetting. You have entered your numbers with comma separators manually, properly. We are not saying you have made a mistake.
So nothing will happen.
There have been a lot of improvements in Excel. So we are optimistic that in the future, the more formats can come in.
The more formats, yes, definitely.
So that's why I chose yes, something may happen.
So you are saying yes, something may happen in the future. So for us, our focus here is
something may happen.
Yes.
Yes, I also said something might happen because now when it's entered manually, let's assume you put, let's say it's 1 million, and then you put one comma. What happens? You run the risk of Excel reading it as yes. So maybe you can try that and say put 1 million and an error, maybe you put one comma instead of adding another one who is 1 billion, put one comma.
And for us, we are not saying that you're going to be making a mistake. For us, the way how I asked that question, the perspective I had is that
but is the risk.
Yes. There is a risk, but this time you have navigated the risk and you are precise, like you have punched your numbers with commas. Okay, that's the perspective I thought I could understand the question. But of course, in the mind of someone like a data analyst or someone who is inquisitive, you know that sometimes people navigate that risk and they punch in everything properly. So formulas will not fail to work in the future, because I just wanted to test you on if formulas can fail to work in future looking at the numbers X. So if you punched in those numbers with comma separators, it's tiresome on your side. But of course, there is nothing that will fail to work on those numbers. If they have been separated properly, wherever the separator is needed to be punched, unless you make a mistake and you put a separator where it's not supposed to be. The last one. Can we handle the last one? Oh yeah, we have 19 here. Is conditional formatting part of a structure or cell content formatting? Look at the picture below to guide your answer. Do we have the picture here? Oh, do we have
there was no picture.
There was no picture.
That's what everybody was asking about, that picture.
And the last one is also controversial somehow for people who answered this prior when the drop-down list was not activated. So the last one, if you mentioned Format Painter, you got it right, even if there was no choice to pick from the list. Remember, at first, this number 20, you had to punch in the correct answer. So I missed some point at configuring the question to allow only people who punch in Format Painter. So I activated the button that failed. That did the opposite, instead, they failed the people who were punching in Format Painter. So I realized that later when I had released the test. So you can actually give it to yourself another 5. So I believe we are doing very fine in terms of performance. We have added ourselves, but don't add it to on your side. I still have your submission, please. I still have your submission. Don't think you add your 10 marks on what you got, because I still have your individual submissions here. If you try to add, I will have to check here. These records will remain forever. Yes. So there shouldn't be any worry. So let me hope that this review, we learned something out of this review. Can we introduce ourselves to the new topic now that we are supposed to cover? And let me hope that we learned something in this review. We unlearned and learned something. These reviews help sometimes